Joe Lieberman. He served as chairman of the Senate Armed Services and Homeland Security Committees. It's always an honor to have you, Senator. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Lydia. Good to be back with you.
Senator, why do you think President Biden has not hit Iran more harshly with sanctions? Why did he also send a clear message that he wouldn't do anything to Iran? It seems like Biden's strategy is one of appeasement, and it's not working.
Yeah, well, I think the Biden policy toward Iran has been based on a mistaken belief that somehow you can trust Iran, you can deal with Iran, you can defang them diplomatically, but you just have to look at their record since the Khomeini Revolution of 1979 and see that they're simply untrustworthy. But more than that, they are violently anti-American and anti our allies in the Middle East, particularly Israel and our closest Arab countries. So I think there's been a kind of self-delusion, maybe naivete about the Obama then Biden policy toward Iran. And right now, for instance, the president and Secretary of State, others keep saying, we don't want to escalate this into a regional conflict. But the reality is Iran has already escalated it into a regional conflict. And in my opinion, you can't see the terrorist groups like Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, etc., as separate groups. They are part of the Iranian military. They're supported by Iran, they're trained by Iran, and basically they will do and do whatever Iran tells them to do. So, okay, I'm glad finally a president was slow to respond to these attacks, particularly on our troops. But that's the beginning. But this is not going to get better, in my opinion, until we attack the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps in Iran. Because that's, as you said, I believe earlier, the head of the state. That's where the command central is. And if we scare them and hurt them, I think this will all get to be better and more peaceful in the Middle East.
You know, everybody keeps saying, what would President Trump do, right? Love him or hate him. There was peace in the Middle East when Trump was at the helm. Sir, what do you think Trump got right?
Well, in my opinion, and of course I disagree with President Trump on a bunch of things, but in my opinion, he absolutely got the Middle East right, both because he treated our allies as allies and our enemies as enemies. In other words, our allies are Israel and the Arab countries, and our enemies are Iran. So he broke the nuclear Iran deal that Obama people negotiated in 2015, which was an abomination. He got us out of it. And particularly with the leadership of his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, but it was the president. He achieved a remarkable breakthrough in the so-called Abraham Accords between Israel, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Morocco, and Sudan. So when it came to the Middle East, I think President Trump was right on.
Senator, we have less than a minute left. Do you think Barack Obama is still pulling the strings, specifically when it comes to foreign policy? He's the one that started this whole pro-Iran sweetheart deal with them.
Well, I'm not close enough to the Biden administration to know whether he's pulling the strings, but there's no question that there's a continuity from what I believe is the mistaken and dangerous Obama policy toward Iran and the policy that the Biden administration has followed. And there's not going to be security for the United States, for our troops there, and for our closest allies, Israel particularly, until we get tough with the Iranians. And that not only means attacking them in Iran militarily, but turning the screws on the sanctions, because as I believe you said earlier, they've been selling a lot more oil under President Biden than they did under President Trump. He put on maximal economic pressure, and that's the only thing that they will respond to. That and the military force used against them. They're a bully, and sometimes when you hit a bully, the bully backs down, and we haven't tried that with them in a long time.
Senator Joe Lieberman, always an honor and a pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Lydia. Have a good day.
You too.